Greenwald Realty Team is we are dedicated to servicing seniors within our community, and we are here to make the rest of your life the best of your life. And right now I am working with 4 or 5 family members in deciding what to do. Do they want to age in place? Do they want to move to a senior community? Do they want to just right size into a smaller home? And it's very fraught with emotions. They've lived in their home 30, 40, a couple of them are 50 plus years, and you just don't wake up one morning and going, let's move. Something triggers these thoughts and wishes and wants and ideas. And that's what we're here to talk about. What is in your best interest in terms of your quality of life moving forward? Senior stay or go, smart sizing. Smart sizing is, I was just with someone last night. He's my neighbor. He comes out and I'm getting the mail, and he comes out and talks to me. He goes, Ron, I need to talk to you. My 85-year-old mom was in skilled nursing for 6 weeks. The doctor specifically looked at her in the eyes and said, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, I do not want you to move home. Mrs. Jones said to the doctor, tough toenails, I'm living in my home. So again, I'm hoping she listens to the podcast and hears some of the advice that I give, and will at least meet with me to give her some thoughts on moving to one of these beautiful senior communities that we toured in 2022. And for those that are listening or came on those tours, I hope you enjoyed, and I think we're planning on some more for 2023. So enjoy life. It does have an expiration date. We know nobody lives forever. And again, if you are in good health, get out and enjoy. So today's presentation will focus on, you're in the big house right now. You've lived in it 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years. You have you have stairwells, and you have a lot of maintenance, and you have big yards, and you have roofs that need to be replaced, and you have an overhead, and you're looking for just a little easier way maybe to go through the last 20, 30 years of your life. Would that be in a smaller home, a condominium where they're taking care of a lot of the upkeep, or what we call a senior community, what we sometimes refer to as a cruise ship in dry dock, for those that came on the tours in 2022. So real estate options, things to consider: aging in place. Obviously, that's what 95% of the population always says. You're going to have to carry me out of here in a pine box. I hear that on a continual basis, but know the facts. The facts are, and again, I have to be very direct, and even sometimes it doesn't always come across pleasant, but most of us don't just drop dead. We get incapacitated at the later stages of our lives, and we need caregiving. And I can tell you, the person who's giving the care usually is the one that gets the most ill the quickest, because of trying to be a full-time caregiver, trying to be a spouse, trying to be a loved one. It's not something that one should do. It's just an impossible job. Senior communities, and then home share. Outlines are aging in place. What kind of care should you think about? Financial and legal issues when you are moving from your home, housing options, the stuff in the home, the move, and selling a home. I'm going to go a little off on the stuff just for a real second. I was in a home yesterday, husband and wife. They're in their 70s. She has now been diagnosed with dementia, and what form, I don't know. But she is starting, there are signs posted all throughout the house. The husband has posted big signs all through the house, kind of instructing his wife, who has this dementia, not to answer the phone, not to get on the emails, because she is taking phone calls, and again, the scam thing is starting to impact their lives, because she is buying things, ordering things that really she should not be. So they are thinking about moving to a senior community. Aging in place, most common accidents experienced by seniors who live independently. Obviously, everyone here on this phone call, this Zoom, and who's going to watch it on YouTube knows somebody who fell in the bathtub, fell in the bathroom, and had to go to skilled nursing for 4 to 6 weeks. And that is broke a hip, and that is many times the beginning of an end of a healthy, safe, and sane lifestyle. That is just usually the trigger. So I encourage you to do everything. If you're aging in place, I encourage you to do everything humanly possible within your budget to make your home safe and sane for you to walk around, to get around in the bathroom, in the kitchen. Stop getting on that ladder. Stop getting, stepping into wet bathtubs with, without a balance bar or something like that. House fires, bed sores, infections, burns, lacerations, sprains. The other part of this that I will say about aging in place is medication. Do you have someone to help you if you are on certain medications, helping you guide you through those medications? Because aging in place requires someone to help you manage medications in the sense of that you're taking the right level dosages. Too many people are diagnosed with issues that are all due to over medication. So and then there's a fall, and then there's a broken hip. So have someone there to help you manage your medications. That's kind of the number one thing that I am seeing in 2022 is the over medication of people and a misdiagnosis because of those over medications. And picture. Care, and where I talk about care, aginglifecare.org. It used to be called geriatric care management, but as we know, no one likes the word geriatric, and I'm going to use the word older adults because nobody even likes the word senior citizen anymore. So older adults, Aging Life Care. If I can get you to write that down and think about anything that's the most important for you as you age, whether you live in a senior community or whether you stay at home, having a health care advocate will prolong your life indefinitely, is my opinion, because these people that work in this profession are those people that are going to be your health care advocate, who know how to talk to the doctor, the nurses, the hospitals, to say, this is what is in the best interest of my client, not what you say is in the best interest of my client in terms of medications, how to rehab, and all of the issues that come in with going into the hospital or going into any senior care community. Have an advocate for you. There's just no way in the society that we live in that there's enough advocacy for your personal benefit. Financial and legal. We're going to spend about 5-10 minutes on this one. Again, 2022, what happened from 2020 through the first half of 2022, you saw your home appreciate 30, 40, 50, 60, even 70% in value. Yes, we're having a pullback from those highs of the first half of the year, no question about it, but still substantially higher than 2020. And substantially higher than if you bought this home 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago, and you're looking to sell the home. Understand that there are capital gains on the sale of a personal residence. I'm not going to get into the weeds of all that, but if you want to call me and you want to have get more information on the details of what incorporates capital gains on the sale of a personal residence, I am happy to walk you through it. I'm happy to, obviously, maybe you have a CPA or a tax advisor. If you don't, we can at least walk through it, and maybe you should be referred to again, the beauty of the UCSC Retirement Association, you have so many resources, incredible resources to help answer that question. Cash flow, life expectancy, to work out the cash flow if you are moving to a senior community, and those out-of-pocket costs, if you do not have long-term care insurance, if you do, then maybe that is a phenomenal tool to help pay for a senior community. But will your money be there, assuming you have a life expectancy of 15, 20, 30 years? If you're moving into a senior community in your early 70s, you may live to that 100-year mark. And will that money be there for you to pay for a senior community? Prop 19 tax transfer tax, again, again, you should be talking to your financial advisor with, your family with, your CPA tax advisor with, or I'm happy to talk to you about it before you reach out to those advisors. The issue with that is if you plan to give your property to your children and they plan on not living in that home, that property tax assessment is going, that property tax is going to be reassessed to current market value. The rules, the prior rules all left us when Prop 19 passed. Now you can use Prop 19 for your personal advantage if you sell your home and then move to let's say you sell your home for $2 million and buy a home for $1 million, your property tax base is based on a purchase price of $100,000. You can carry that property tax basis over to the new purchase. Again, happy to chat with you about that. Step up in basis. This is when you have proper titling to your home, assuming it's in the trust, the Fred and Wilma Flintstone Trust. It's in the name of the trust. On the passing of a spouse, you get what they call a full step up in basis to current fair market value, which means the surviving spouse can sell that real estate, the personal property, and no capital gains will be assessed. Same thing would happen on let's say the first spouse passes away, the surviving spouse has remained in the home for 20 years. We have another huge markup, the valuation of the property. The second spouse has passed away, and now you have a full step up in basis to current fair market value of 2022. The heirs, the beneficiaries, the successor trustee to that trust can sell the home at no capital gains due to this, what we call the step up in basis. And financial resources, we're talking about long-term care. If you have that, again, you may want to reach out. We have resources, and I think there's somebody, I think Suzanne has somebody that she can refer you to who really can help manage long-term health care advocacy for you. It is an insurance policy. So as we all know, the insurance company may look for ways not to give you your full benefits. So you need an advocate for that as well. Housing options, we talked a little, we're going to talk, this is where we're going to deep dive into this. Take a cruise. Now, I think they're back. Carnival Cruise Lines, I think they're all back. Before COVID, we had well, I shouldn't say many, but I knew several dozen folks that literally lived on a cruise ship about 330 days a year. They have medical facilities and medical staff, and then they couch surfed. I guess that's a millennial term or Gen Z term. They couch surfed the other 30 days, and that's the way they did retirement. And really wasn't, I think it was actually less expensive than a 5-star retirement community in some ways. Home share, always questionable about home share. Do you really want to go back into that world of like when you were in college and doing dorm style living where you had a bunch of people living together? Can be fun. It's kind of like a senior community in a sense, but in a senior community, you have your own apartment, obviously. Home share, you have 2 or 3 other people that you're sharing with. Can you all get along? Can you all agree? It's like anything else. Or given as we get older, usually we like our privacy and our alone time, for me personally. And then move in with relatives. That is becoming, if you have a son or daughter and they have some land in the back of their home and you want to put up an auxiliary dwelling unit, certainly in San Diego County and in California, We are trying to get more in tune with the idea of allowing auxiliary dwelling units. They call them ADUs in the backyards of people's homes so that we can add to the housing the physical housing population. So we have more housing available for more people. If you have any questions about the permitting or the cost or anything to do with putting an ADU onto your home or your child's home so that you can move into the backyard and then hopefully be the babysitter for your grandchildren, call me and I can refer you to several sources that are build out ADUs. That's their job, that's their profession, that's what they do every day. Okay, now we're going to go housing options. Age restricted only. For those that are in San Diego County, you may be familiar with Rancho Bernardo. If you're familiar with Rancho Bernardo, there's Oaks North and Seven Oaks, and we're going to get into the details of that. Independent living communities, assisted, and that's what we did. So independent living communities, assisted living, memory care, CCRCs is what we visited all in 2022. And we had great, it was just a lot of fun. We met some great people, and I think some people got a lot out of actually going to these communities. And now those people that visited the senior communities in 2022, they may not be thinking about moving for 5, 10, or 10 years, if ever. But those folks now have an idea of what they want. If the time comes that they decide that they want to move to a senior community, they have a conceptual idea of where they want to go, why they like particular communities, why they like the personnel at those communities, the people at those communities, and then they can tell their children and their loved ones, if for some reason I'm in the hospital and I need to move to a senior community because I can't go back to my home, this is where I want to go. Or I'm just going to be proactive. I am tired of maintaining this house and all the costs that come with it, and I want someone else cooking for me every day. These are the communities I visited. This is what I want to investigate further, and this is where I'm going. It's all the idea of having a plan in place so that you're making decisions that are your best interest, not someone else is making the decision for you. So here's an idea of age restricted only. Ocean Hills, Oceanside. Auberge is over in the Del Sur area, Bernardo Oaks, Seven Oaks. You own these homes. These are your individual home. You pay the property taxes, you maintain the home. Some of them are condominiums, some of them are townhomes, and some are single family detached homes. Pacific Region is a hybrid, if somebody's interested in that, where you actually own the unit, but they do have communal dining and communal activities. Rancho Carlsbad, Oceana, 55 apartments. And then go to the website if you want to see something. And obviously you've all heard in the desert, there's a lot of 55 plus communities. And obviously in Arizona, there's a lot of 55 communities where they've got the bocce ball courts and now the pickleball courts and all the activities that go, the swimming pools and all the activities that you want, but it's only everybody who lives there has to be 55 plus. So you don't have the screaming children next to you and all that chaos. But a lot of fun, good wines, very good wines. I'm looking for that, Tichy. I thought you put, I'm gonna just scroll down for 1 second because I don't see it. So maybe it didn't make it in here. But what I want to add for anybody who's driven up and down the 15 freeway near Penasquitos over the last couple months, you're seeing a ton of grading right there with the just north of the 56 and 15 interchange. I hope that makes sense. And there was a golf course there. There was a DoubleTree hotel there at one time, and that golf course is gone. And all of that grading is by Lennar, which is a huge home builder in the United States, and it's all 55 plus living to come. If you have any conceptual idea that you want to downsize, right size into a 55 plus brand new community in North County, San Diego, I would get on the Lennar site, or I don't know if they have any thing there that you can go and see yet, because it's all being graded, but you can do a drive-by. And go over and get on the Lennar site, 55 plus communities, San Diego County, it will come up. And you may want to get on an interest list for sure. It is going to have, it's going to be the whole live, work, play environment within that area along the 15 and the 56 freeway, brand new community coming up, built by Lennar on the site of the old golf course. All of these others we talked about. Oh, chat. Let me see. I just want to see if I'm answering this. There's a question. Oh, okay. So let me get back here. These are some of these communities we visited. Most of these communities have 3 levels of care on the campus. If you notice, I don't use the word facility. I use the word community or campus, because that's really what all of these are. They have a lot of activities on there. They have a lot, they have all, activities directors, full-time activity directors to keep you busy and engaged. When I say 3 levels of care, they have independent living, assisted living, and memory care right on the campus. Now, the memory care can be a separate unit. It's usually a separate floor or a separate building. Obviously, different issues with memory care. So many questions to ask, and I know that Suzanne UCSD put together a list of questions that one should ask when they go visit a senior community. And one of the key questions is obviously the cost. And what is the cost for one person? What is the cost for 2 people living in an apartment? What is the cost if I'm coming in as independent and I don't need any care? What happens if all of a sudden I do need care, whether it's getting up, taking showers, medicine? What is the additional cost going to be on a monthly basis? Another key question is, can I live in my apartment for the rest of my life? A lot of times they segregate the apartments into independent living and assisted living. And as soon as they assess that you cannot be independent anymore and that you are required to have assistance at a certain level of assistance, they may ask you to move apartments. Some of the communities say, no, we will provide assistance within whatever apartment you choose. And I'm just going to pick, when I say pick in a good way, Silvergate built a brand new community out in Rancho Bernardo, and they have a wait list. It is beautiful. We didn't get to tour that one in 2022, so that should maybe put on the list. It really looks like a hotel. It really looks beautiful, and they've got villas, and it's just a fabulous layout. Somebody should go visit. But they have a wait list because they did such a great job on building it. So what I suggest is, if you are interested at all in the Silvergate community or some of these communities that are just 100% full or 100% occupied, and you say, I want the top floor corner unit apartment with the view of the mountains, and that's not available, then who gets priority when that becomes available? You may have to think about, if you are thinking about moving to a senior community, to take what they have. It may not be your first or second choice, but you're in, and you get to enjoy all the amenities. You get to meet new friends. You get to use their swimming pool. You get to eat their food, and they usually have these incredible chefs. And then obviously, if availability comes up, who are they going to go to first? They're going to go to you to say, hey, that 3rd floor corner unit, Mountain View unit became available. Are you interested? Rather than the people at Silvergate going to somebody who's not in the community and who's on a wait list. But you have to think about that. These are all throughout San Diego County. Silvergate has a community in Fallbrook. They have one in, as I say, Rancho Bernardo. They're going to break ground on one in Rancho Santa Fe. Merrill Gardens has, if you like the downtown Bankers Hill, they're in Bankers Hill. Oakmont has about 4 or 5 communities throughout the county. Westmont has about 4 or 5 communities throughout the county. Wesley Palms is in your back porch. And front porch is the mothership of Wesley Palms, as is Casa de Mañana, which we toured. That's the one right there on the water in downtown La Jolla. Sunrise is more just assisted living. And again, they have 4 or 5 communities. Cost for any of these on this list is you're probably looking at anywhere from $5,000 a month up to $10,000, $12,000 a month. If you need a lot of care and you have a two bedrooms, and obviously they do, based on the location within the community, that will change the cost. Based on how much assistance you need changes the cost. So all of those, but again, those are the questions you ask in terms of when you go visit these communities. On the bottom, it says placement professional. What is best for you? If you go, check time. If you go to the Ron Greenwald Show podcast, we have an interview with a placement person on the podcast. What is a placement person? A placement person is someone somewhat like a real estate agent, is that they will inform you as to all the best, they will inform you, they will obviously interview you as to what your needs and wants are in terms of senior living, and then recommend to you the various communities that might be the perfect fit for you. They may even get you in the car, kind of like a real estate agent, and take you to these senior communities so that you can interview the personnel at that community. How do they get paid? They get paid by the community. Most communities will pay a placement professional a referral fee for bringing you to that community. And if you move into that community, obviously they get paid a referral fee. You can juxtaposition it and say, no, I don't want to have any prejudice in the placement professional. I will pay the placement professional a fee so that I feel totally independent, that they are not have any bias towards one community or the other. I can tell you the person on my podcast, obviously I only brought on somebody who I think is the best, and I think she did a great job, and she's been doing this a long time, and she's in La Jolla. If you have any interest in contacting her, it's on the podcast. Memory care. These communities are strictly memory care only communities, again, located throughout San Diego County. I can tell you it's just like anything else. It's just, to me, like the peanut butter allergy amongst kids. We are just seeing almost percentage increase in people having memory care, cognitive issues. It's just exploding. I don't know if it's the aging population. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or research scientist. I understand this. But more and more, I just participated within my family of a 66-year-old gentleman, brilliant beyond brilliant, who is now in full-on memory care lockdown at the age of 66. And I say that not to scare anybody, not to depress anybody. It's reality. It's reality. We have to have a plan. We have to be prepared for the what ifs and understand the options going forward of what is best for you, your loved ones. If you know somebody who's in denial, we need to address that. Okay, CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Community. The V, La Jolla. White Sands is a hybrid. La Costa Glen, Scripps Glen, Casa de las Campanas, and Federica Manor also is a hybrid. These are where you're basically in an insurance policy because they have all 4 levels of care on the campus. I just visited Scripps Glen, so I'm going to use that as my prime example. Scripps Glen has independent living, assisted living, they have memory care, and they have skilled nursing all on the campus, right there in the Scripps Ranch area. So when you see CCRC, you have what they call a buy-in. A buy-in is a contract that you are going to provide a check to this community for anywhere, and I'm just a range of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, all the way up to $2 million for the penthouse at some of these places upfront, plus a monthly fee for monthly expenses. What are the advantages or disadvantages? Lacosta Glen, you do, per my understanding of the contract, and most of these contracts, upon passing, you get anywhere from 50 to 75% of that money in return that will go to your beneficiaries. Obviously, you have passed, it's not going to you, it's going to go to your beneficiaries upon your passing. So they're basically taking a chunk of change up front to be able to maintain your care for the rest of your life. It's like a prepaid insurance policy. Also, in theory, the month-to-month payments that you make at a CCRC versus a month-to-month community, going back, these are all month-to-month. You're basically on a month-to-month rental. You can give 30-day notice. You're paying X amount of dollars. And at 30 days, if you say, I don't like it, I'm out of here. These are month-to-month. This is a little different. As I say, you have provided them a large check up front so that you can live the rest of your life. The contract should have a reimbursement to the trust, to the estate upon your passing. And because you have prepaid your care, the month-to-month that you will incur for all the assistance that you may need, the food, the amenities, should be lower than a month-to-month. There's still going to be yearly increases at both of them, but these should be lower because you prepaid for your care. And if you have to go from assisted living to skilled nursing or to memory care, it should not impact that month-to-month. I say that, I'm not an attorney on that. I highly recommend, if you go interview Lacosta Glen Scripps, any of these, and you're interested in them, take that contract to an attorney. It can be your estate planning attorney. They may say, I'm not an expert in that, but just have someone read it over, because I think it's a pretty substantial. Obviously, if you're going to write a check for $500,000 to $1 million, you should probably want someone to read it before you sign it. Board and care, that might be right next door to you. It's usually not usually, it's a single story home. They've converted probably 4 to 5 bedrooms. This is a very one-on-one high level of care, usually towards the end of life. Obviously, it's in a home, so you don't have all the amenities of a larger community. It's just like living in a home with 4 to 5 other folks, usually on a very high level of care towards the end of life. A lot of them can be very beautiful in terms of views and locations. There's several in La Jolla. There's several along the coast here in North County. The month-to-month is usually lower. It just depends on what works for you. Do you like interaction with other people? Do you want to chat with other people? Do you want more communal interest and activities going on? This is more, it's not complete isolation, obviously, but it's a lot smaller pool of people that you're going to be living with. This one, what to do with the stuff. This is really the paralysis by analysis, which is what you see. Even if you're not going to move to a senior community, I highly, highly encourage you to start thinking about what you want to do with all the stuff while you're above ground. The emotional attachment to stuff, nobody wants it. The kids don't want it. The grandkids don't want it. If you have too much stuff lying around, the injuries that are prone to that by things being on the ground, you trying to move things, things being heavy, it just becomes a tripping hazard, a physical hazard if you have just too much stuff in your home. The 10-round battle, what I mean by that is you try to bring your children into the mix of what you want to give away, and they don't really want it, but they're going to be nice to you and say, I'll take it, but they really don't want it. Then it ends up in their collection of stuff to give away, and then they get agitated. And so have realistic expectations that in today's world, there has just been a flood of stuff put on the market, and even the charities are having a hard time taking stuff, during this whole COVID thing. So what I highly suggest, if you're living in your home and you have stuff, and you know that some of your family members, your children, your grandchildren, your cousins, your nieces, your uncles have always said, gee, I would love that piece that you have. Give it to them now. If you're not using it and you would love to see somebody benefit from it or enjoy it because they've expressed an interest to it, start the giveaway process now instead of waiting for that 11th hour when something's happened to you and you're moving to a senior community and you're going from 3,000 square feet to 1,100 square feet. And now what do you do with all the stuff? So enjoy it while you enjoy it. Enjoy giving it away, whether it's to family members, see what charity will take. And really, I can't emphasize this enough. This is where everybody gets stuck because they just don't know what to do with it all. But if you take drawer by drawer, room by room, don't look at it in the big picture of a 3,000 square foot house. I've lived here 40 years and I don't even know where to begin. Go to one drawer. And if you open up that drawer and said, I have not touched anything in here in the last 3 to 4 years, well, then maybe it's not worth keeping, and you can get that stuff off the floor, off the desk, off of other means to be able to make your home safe and sane while you're thinking about the best living experience for you. There are professional organizers, as we probably talked about before. There are firms called, there's a National Association of Senior Move Managers, people that can help you come through. There's an association of organizers. There are people that will charge you an hourly fee to come in and help you organize. It's an overwhelming task. I highly recommend you try not to, when you're doing it with family, it becomes a confrontational task. You can see I'm a big advocate of if you have the wherewithal, the monetary means to bring in third-party advocates, do it. It brings the tension down, it brings your living standard up, and everybody wins. Just getting time. Oh, there we go. So it is here. The National Association of Senior Move Managers, Give It Away, and estate sales. The estate sales can only happen if you're not living in the home. For those that are thinking about moving to a senior community, we will highly suggest that if you have enough treasures in your home that warrants an estate sale, we will tell you to move first and then have the estate sale. You just cannot have an effective estate sale while you're living there. And also, if you think you are going to if you're moving and you want an estate sale, don't throw anything away, because people will buy for 50 cents, it will add up. But you have to, before you say, yes, that's what I want is an estate sale, we need to come in and look at what you have. Because to have an effective estate sale, you really need to be able to generate about $8,000 to $12,000 of gross proceeds on that sale. And then the estate sale company is going to take about 50% of those proceeds. When I say take, I say earn, because they will spend hundreds and hundreds of hours prepping the house for the sale. Labor costs have gone through the roof, as we all know. Getting people to help the owner of the estate sale company is a whole nother task. So the cost of operating an estate sale has gone up. But just don't expect that those treasures that you think that you bought in Europe 30 years ago for $200, $300, $400, laliques, crystals, things like that, are going to come anywhere close to that price upon the sale in an estate sale. It's not going to happen anymore. But we can certainly talk about that. So move manager, give it away, charitable giving, estate sale. When you call a charitable, when you call any of the charities to pick up things, be very clear to them what you want to give them, and have them repeat it back to you of what you said you gave them, and make sure that they will come and pick it up. Because too many times I'm getting the call, Ron, I'm giving away this, and they came out and then they said they can't take it. Again, labor shortages and the whole thing has just created a whole turmoil in the charitable giving side of giving things away. Selling your home. If at any point in time you think about selling your home, there's a big difference between living in the home and then prepping it for sale. If you are moving to a senior community, I highly, to get maximum dollars for the sale of your home, we want you to move first and leave Ron, the Greenwald Realty team, an empty canvas so that we can clear all the personal property out. We can come in and do a deep clean. We can come in and prep the home for sale and then stage. If that's just not something that you feel, that you can do financially, and living in the home and selling the home, then we have to come up with plan B so that we can obviously allow people in the home at the minimal inconvenience to you while you're living there. But we still have to make it a minimalist home, even if you're living there, which again would mean, how do we rearrange the furniture? How do we create an environment so that the buyer is going to just fall in love with that home and offer you the most money possible? The market has changed. If anybody wants to talk about that, I can spend a minute. We are seeing about a 10 to 15% pullback from March, April of this year to today's pricing. The interest rates, as you know, I'm not telling anything nobody knows. The interest rates, the mortgage interest rates have gone from about 2.5% to 3.5%, closer to 7%. And if you think about the impact that has on a buyer in terms of what they can afford or what they're willing to pay, from a 3% mortgage rate to a 7% mortgage rate, it's astounding as to the buying power reduction is higher interest rates. Is this 2008, 2009, 2010 again? I personally don't think so. That was a whole different issue in terms of when we were giving out loans to anybody and everybody from 2000 to 2008. That was a different world. So as long as we have good employment, as long as people are making money, most likely they will stay in their home. So we still suffer from a huge inventory shortage of homes available to purchase. So that keeps prices elevated a little bit. What's driving it? So that the conflict is, so we still have the lower inventory, but we have the higher interest rates. So we need to find that equilibrium. Well, that will come together. So 2023 could still see some challenges, but you're still substantially higher than you were 2019 and 20. So that's the good news. One thing you may want to think about before you decide that you want to sell your home is to get a home inspection, a certified home inspection. It's about a 70 to 80 page report that's going to tell you everything maybe you don't want to know, but you should know about the condition of your home. Because the last thing we want you to do is to be a seller of a home, find somebody who's willing to pay your price for that home, have that buyer do a home inspection, and then blindside you with all the issues that you thought your home was perfect. You thought there was nothing wrong with it. The buyer does a home inspection, several home inspections. They can do a sewer inspection, a general inspection, a roof inspection, and then come to you and say, look at all these issues. I want you to take $50,000 to $100,000 off the price. You do not want to be blindsided by that. So if you, as a seller of a home, do the legwork up front, now you know what the buyer's going to see, and you can choose up front to say, I'm not doing any of these things on this report. The buyer is going to take it as is, or I will prioritize 5 out of the 10 things the inspection came up with, and I'm willing to correct those prior to putting the home on the market. And now we have receipts, we have an inspection, we have a contractor that's done the work. And now we can present those facts to the buyer to say, hey, we have the report. We're not going to be blindsided. We took care of A, B, C, and D. We are not going to address E, F, and G. Therefore, that's the way it is. So it puts you back in the driver's seat. It puts you in the front seat of the car to be in control of the pricing and the marketing of your home. And I would, even if you're not going to sell the home, I would recommend you do this at least on every 2 or 3 year basis. So small problems do not become big problems. There could be a pinhole leak someplace that's creating a mold issue that you have no idea is happening. And you just don't want that going on as you age, because it becomes small problems. Let's keep them small problems. So again, curb appeal, bright and fresh, minimalist, depersonalized stage. This is all about selling the home. And we try, and again, no one understands this more than I do. You've lived in that home a long, long time. Ron comes in and says, gosh, I need to kind of recreate this. And you're going, well, wait a second. I've enjoyed it the way it is. 100% agree with you. My job is to get you the most money if you decide to sell the home. I need to create that environment where a buyer is going to love that home.